Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a special edition of Roll Call. I'm your host, Joseph Giacalone, and with us is retired NYPD Detective Michael Alcazar. Mike, good to see you again. Thanks for coming out on such short notice.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good, good, hanging in there. Um, so we have some stuff that we want to talk about yesterday, specifically the Karen Reed case. When you and I actually did the first case, we spoke about. I think it was even the first time we ever spoke about this case. About this, if this was a conspiracy theory, boy, it was a terrible one, right? It was probably one of the worst ones we see, and I'm still standing by that. I don't think there's a conspiracy going on here. But one thing that I always, listen, I support the cops, of course, but you know what? When I think I see something, or we know we see something that's wrong, I'm also going to call that out. I don't sit on the fence and say, oh well, cops are always right. I don't do that. And I'm not going to speak for you, Mike, but that's how I feel about these things.
No, I think we've been pretty vocal about our criticism of the investigation, with the Karen Reed case. Uh, you know, we've commented on how unprofessional, how the crime scene was not done well,
Hmm.
to put it lightly.
Testimony
Um,
by Trooper
the
Paul about the
testimony
vehicle.
of the testimony of Proctor, of Trooper Paul. So listen, we're police officers, we're professional investigators, so we have hindsight with our experience. So we've been in trials, we've testified in court. So I think we have a right to criticize police officers if whether if they do it right, we comment what they did good, and if they do something wrong, we comment on that. So I think
Yeah.
that's what the show's about, and I think that's what a lot of our viewers like, that we give both sides, perspectives, like what we see as professionals and how maybe civilians will see what's going on, and we get it. This case is incredible. It's like a movie. It's like an amazing movie. And what we're going to talk about today, I was just like, my God, that was so interesting. So
Yeah, no, I mean it was absolutely. So let's just jump into yesterday because that's what everybody is here for. They want to hear about what we think about what occurred yesterday with Officer Dever. We have to make sure we say her name right because she'll be going after us next. Officer Dever of
ever,
the
yeah.
Boston Police Department, formerly of the Canton Police Department. We are going to play a couple of clips, and Mike and I are going to react about that. But Mike, I need to ask you a question. You spent over 30 years in the New York City Police Department. I did over 20 years. How many times did the police commissioner call you up to his office and ask you about a testimony on a case?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that yesterday. In my 30 years, 30 and a half, I've never been up to the PC's office. Not once, not for any case. Uh, Granted, I've never been in a high profile case like this that's been on TV. I mean, I'm a dinosaur, so a lot of the cases I was involved in weren't televised. But no, never, not once.
Right. Have you ever met the police commissioner at all? You know, in 30 years, yeah, you have at least
Yeah,
how
I
many
met him.
times?
I met the PCs at the time during promotions. When you get
Mhm.
promoted, you get to take pictures with them, meet them, but it wasn't like a conversation. It was more like a photo op, and then you're out of there.
Yeah, shake hands, move on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I met the police commissioner twice. Yeah, once I got promoted. One time when I got promoted, I didn't even meet him. The second time I got promoted, I met him, and then another time actually during a tour of the Real Time Crime Center, I ran into him at the time.
Nice.
But other than that,
Who was the PC that you met?
Ray Kelly.
It had to be Kelly, right? Because Kelly
Well,
did
he
like
was there the
12 years.
longest. Yeah, he was there the longest. But even on Medal Day, when I got my medal,
Yeah.
the mayor was there. I mean, that was it. So I think I met the mayor more than I met the police commissioner. So there you go.
I never met the mayor. I mean, I've seen him, I've been around him, but never met him.
Yeah.
I
Well,
met Koch. I met Mayor Ed Koch when I was, I think it was a Thanksgiving Day parade detail, and I got to talk to him.
all right. Well, let's jump into this. So it's queued up, Mike. Just hit the play button for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
We're just gonna watch a little bit, folks, and then we're gonna discuss this.
As a dispatch officer, by the way, you were a sworn officer at
Yes.
that time, correct? Uniform, badge, gun, the whole works, right?
Yes.
Had you ever been in the Sally Port at Canton PD?
Yes.
What's the Sally Port?
A Sally Port is a garage, essentially.
Okay. You're aware that the Sally Port garage had a camera, a security camera?
It would make sense because that's where we bring prisoners to drop them off.
Well, more than just makes sense. I'm asking you, do you recall that it had cameras that serviced the Sally Port garage? Security cameras.
It's where we brought prisoners, so there would be cameras, yes.
Okay, you're saying there would be cameras. I'm asking you, were there cameras?
According to the media, yes. I've seen the footage, so yes, there were cameras.
All
So-
right, so hold on. So I'm going to strike that officer.
Pause this, Mike. Okay. First of all, we didn't have Sally Ports, right? So we didn't have all this stuff, but we had cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you, as a police officer, not know that there are cameras? I mean, the answer to the question is there a camera? Yes. She knows where he's going with this. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Well, listen, again, how much time did she have on when she was in Canton PD? I think she didn't have that much time
Not
on
a
there,
lot.
right? So she was a rookie. I think she said she had a year on. So is it possible that she didn't know where the cameras were? Has she been around the station house? Because listen, I was thinking about this. Like, I worked in the 77 precinct in Brooklyn. I know there's cameras everywhere, right? But if you ask me, could I tell you exactly where they were? Some of them, right?
Yeah.
Right now, in my memory, I can't remember where the cameras were in the cells. I know there was cameras in the cells. I know there was cameras in the holding pen. But if you ask me if I could tell you where they were, I probably couldn't remember. But I know they were there, right? So
okay. But
she had to
here's
meet
the
it on
thing,
the
though.
job. So does she remember it? It's probably it might be a truthful statement.
Well, here's the thing. You have cameras there in the prison where she said they bring in the prisoners. So technically, somebody should be watching those cameras when they're bringing in the prisoners, because if there is something where somebody's trying to escape or they start fighting the cops, you got to hit a panic button or something. I mean, this is, I don't know how they train their people. Maybe this is a training issue.
It seems like there's a big training issue in Canton PD, right?
Yep. Headed up for the next one.
Yep.
You have to answer the question based on your own independent methods. Okay?
Yeah, according to the
If-
media,
if
they're
you
cameras.
don't have them, tell us. But you can't reference what you know from the media.
All right. There were cameras in the Sally Port.
Thank you.
That wasn't hard.
Ms. Dever, do you want to be here today?
I have no relation to this case,
I
so
didn't ask you that. I asked you if you want to be here today.
Objection, this isn't direct.
So it's your witness.
I understand.
She can, no comments, just questions, not I understand that.
Do you want to be here today now?
I am put on the stand in a murder trial. I don't know why I'm here. I have no connection to this case.
You have no idea why you're here?
You've never talked to me. Nobody on the fence seems to talk to me since prior to the first trial. So I don't have any idea why I'm here.
No clue whatsoever, as you sit here, why you might have been called to the stand.
No.
Are you uncomfortable testifying?
No, it's part of my job.
You're a professional police officer, correct?
Correct.
That means you're a professional witness to a certain degree, correct?
In the crimes that I've gone on the stand before, yes, I have been.
And you understand the oath.
Yes, I do.
What is that oath?
The oath is to tell the truth.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth, correct?
So help you God.
Sustained.
I'll rephrase it.
Did you say
just-
deposit?
Yeah, just pause that. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So to help you guys. So CH, met with the feds, the commissioner, interviewed, etc. But I had no idea why I'm here. Yeah, that's pretty much sums it up. And Simi Sharp actually had mentioned about the Sarge Squad. That's the name of our group. So our chatters, we're going to be part of the Sarge Squad. So welcome. Thank you for voting in on that. Happy with
Sarge
that. It's going to be
Squad.
the Sarge Squad.
I like it.
Yep. So no. Hey, listen, folks. There are some glaring issues with her testimony in regards to how she's going to be perceived by the jury. Mike, just from an outsider, You're a juror and you're watching this play out in front of you. What's your perception of Officer Dever?
See, listen, I want to think that I can be unbiased and be like a juror, but we have too much experience,
No, I hear you.
and I don't know if I'm leaning more towards police officers in this case. But this initial line of questioning and her response, I find her very snarky, right? Which could be confidence, right? She might be confident that she's going to testify and she's going to say what she's going to say. So it could be taken different ways, right? The jury could say, yeah, she's great, she's confident, or the jurors could look at her and it's like, no, I don't like this police officer. I don't like her attitude. She doesn't want to be here. It's obvious she doesn't want to be here. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I think if I would have been asked the question, do you want to be here? I'd been like, of course not. Nobody likes to go to court and testify. I'd rather be doing 100 other things. But this is part of my job.
So. I guess that would be a truthful answer.
Yeah, that would have been a truthful answer. Sheila says, can she ever be trusted to testify again? Well, this is what we're going to be leading up to, because one of our quotes that we're going to get to is, I created a false memory. So how do you ever put her on the stand again? I mean, if she makes another arrest and she's got to testify, if she writes even a parking summons or not a parking summons, but a moving violation, how do you go and testify about this? Because the defense attorney's going to go, okay, let me bring this up here. Is this another false memory you had? It's going to haunt her or follow her the rest of her career. Simple as that. If that's all that happens to her, she's lucky.
Again, in her defense, she's a rookie police officer, and the conversation that she said she had willingly, wasn't in a court of law, right? She wasn't sworn in. She was just giving a recollection. So could that haunt her? Possibly.
Okay, how about say regret it? She will regret saying it.
Yeah, she'll regret it. We got to remember, folks, that she was a rookie, right? And rookies, they're basically not police officers yet, right? They're civilians with a year's experience. So, they might give her a pass on that. It's going to be interesting what the jury thinks too, right? So, like, we don't know, and we heard that the makeup of the jury is younger, right? So we don't know if there's a strong personality. And I've done this myself when I was in a jury. If there's a strong personality that can convince others, that's going to be key, right? It's going to be where the jury goes. We don't know if they're divided like the rest of the country. We don't know, we only know what they're hearing and we don't know what they're thinking. So, how do they see her? How does she translate to them? So that's going to be key.
Sheila says, why did she leave Canton PD? Apparently Boston pays a lot more than Canton, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's not unusual. You go to Canton PD because they hired her, right? Because she was probably waiting to roll over to Boston. That's not unusual. A lot of police departments do that. A lot of NYPD officers take NYPD and then roll over to go to Suffolk or Nassau because it pays a lot more money. So
money. Yep.
That's not unusual. Yeah, it's about money.
Yeah, go with the money. Okay, cue it up, Mike.
Is there more to that oath when you raise your right hand as a witness?
I'm objecting.
So I'm going to see it side by for just
Sure.
Oh boy. Okay, so this is getting problematic for a couple of reasons. Alan Jackson slipped into cross-examination mode, okay, which he didn't have permission to do, okay? So this is on direct. He's calling that witness, and you can see she has.
I love Julie, but we're going to have to fast forward. Here we go.
Are maybe seeing what she is doing, but ignore.
Yeah, okay.
When we come back.
Okay, you can investigation.
Contentious. Let's go back in.
One of the cameras, one of the monitors that you had access to back on January 29th did show the footage
This is important.
Or did it show the footage from that one of the other Sallyport garage cameras?
Can you rephrase the question?
Sure, it was a little bit clunky on my part. Did one of the monitors that you looked at, that you had access to at the dispatch area, did it show the video footage or the video feed from the Sallyport garage?
So I already said I don't remember where in dispatch the screen with the cameras was. There was a camera in the Sally Port. So if I'm going to make the assumption, then yes, of course. But now that's an assumption.
I'm not asking you for an assumption, ma'am. I'm asking you, did one of the feeds, now we've talked about the camera, the other side of the camera is the feed. Do you recall whether or not there was footage that you could see on a monitor in the dispatch area that showed the Sally Port?
I'm going to go with yes.
Okay.
A clarification.
How long?
So I don't know what that means. So what do you mean you're going to go with yes? Is your answer yes?
Boy, this is painful. It's a long pause,
Yes.
boy.
Thank you.
I think she's
What
struggling.
time about did you take over the dispatch desk that morning?
Immediately following when the 911 call came in.
Would have been 6-ish in the morning. Does that sound about right?
Sometime I would say towards the later of my shift, but it was the middle of winter and dark out. So I don't know if it was 4, 5, 6.
Understood. But it was still dark out.
Yes.
Once you took over the dispatch desk, did you stay there even past your normal shift ending to support the investigation that was ongoing?
Not to support the investigation. I was just on overtime.
Okay. So you stayed past your normal end time of your shift that day.
Yes, on overtime.
You stayed into the afternoon, correct?
I believe the shift ended at 3:45 p.m. for the Canton Police.
But you stayed past your ending shift time, correct?
Objection.
I'm sorry, I'll rephrase it. Did you stay past your ending shift time?
For my regular shift, yes, because I was on overtime on the day shift.
Pause it, Mike.
Did you observe?
Pause.
Okay. So this is where I think Jackson was headed with this, and you correct me if you think something different. You have an officer from Boston, everybody knows now, has been killed. Whether it's an accident, whether it's intentional, they don't know yet. So all hands on deck, Mike, on something like this. Does anybody even go home?
Well, in NYPD, no, right? Everybody
Stay on your own time. You stay on your own time. You don't even get paid for it.
And again, I hate to be defending or siding with her, but a rookie police officer that's on the inside in the station house, they might cut her loose, but she did, right? She stayed a little bit in overtime. So,
But here's the thing: where he's headed with this, I think. She says she stays till 3:45, or her shift during overtime ends at 3:45. The alleged video happens at 5:30
right.
at the Sally Port. So he's trying to intimate that she stayed beyond that time. Yeah, that's where he's headed with that.
Right. But she
And I
was,
also
let me
think-
clarify. What she was saying that she was there till 3:45, and all that time she was on overtime, right? That was beyond
Right.
her normal tour.
Beyond her
correct?
tour.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And allegedly this video that she saw, that she told the feds, happens at 5:30 or so, around that time. So there's
Right.
like a 2-hour difference, and that's why now she's saying she's recanting that, because she's been presented with evidence that claims that this never happened. Well, I mean,
Right.
this is a huge problem, right? You told the feds you saw something. You said she saw, and she actually used the words that Brian Higgins, right? He's the ATF guy. Kenneth Berkowitz is the deputy chief at the time. I don't think he's working anymore. I think he retired. Anyway, she said that they were at the Sally Port with Karen Reed's car for a wildly long time. That was her quote to the feds.
Yeah, that's
Then
a,
she
that's
also
a crazy
says-
adjective.
Right. And now she's saying that this was she created a false memory on this, and none of that happened. And then she also talked about, we're not going to get into the whole thing because we're going to be going up against the court starting soon. Everybody's going to flee on us. The issue that comes down to is when she tells the feds this, that she's changing her testimony. According to her, if anybody has watched the whole thing, she says something in substance that I called up the FBI and I told them what happened, and then they said that, yeah, no worry about it. Basically, yeah, okay, no problems. I, I don't know if they were that contrite about the whole thing. Like, yeah, don't worry about it. Sorry to hear all that. And I'll
Yeah,
tell you something. The judge had specifically said that she didn't want the first trial brought up, and she's brought it up now a few times, and she's also didn't want the FBI brought up, and she brought in the FBI too. The the prosecutor denied the defense this time around all of that gaggle of people to come in so that they could support their third party theory, right? Because their
right,
theory, the defense's theory, is that he was killed in the house by somebody else and then left on the lawn to die. That's what their theory is. They were
right.
not able to get it in there. This witness is allowing them to open the door, and she opens the door for them, as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion. She opens the door for this because to me,
Well,
the jury is sitting there going, what happened here?
right.
What are you
Well,
talking about? Right.
maybe,
There's
maybe that's what Jackson wanted, right? Maybe now he could, like you say, he can introduce it since this witness brought it up. I think it's funny that this guy, this officer, is this witness, and she's battling with him. So a lot of people have criticized: is it a win for the prosecution and a loss for the defense, or maybe we'll see if it is actually a tactic that Jackson employed that might work, right, to introduce more witnesses and more testimony.
well, here's my question, Mike, and this could be rhetorical because we don't know. How did they find out about that meeting with the police commissioner? How did the defense find out about that?
Well, we can speculate, right? Police officers talk. You got this rookie police officer meeting with the PC. Somebody leaked it out, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if the feds are doing an investigation into the Canton Police Department, they're not going to go and tell the defense, "Hey, listen, we're investigating this, and we talked to this woman. This officer, you better talk to her." I mean, they're not doing that. So this information came from somewhere.
Yeah, and what prompted the PC to meet with her, right? I mean, I know it's
Well,
a case.
yeah. I mean, that's a little fugazi as far as I'm concerned about all these working parts, um, how all these working parts fit into this whole thing. Because I'll
Yeah,
tell you, going to
it's
the PC's office, even if it was had nothing to do with anything. I mean, she did it, but she has testified that it did have to do with this case. That's her problem right now. She testifies that what she was told. Here it is. Regardless of what you say on the stand, we support you. That's allegedly what she was told. Well, what the hell does that mean?
yeah. I think if she met with the PC, and this is where I'm thinking, Joe. She's a rookie, right? She's a rookie police officer. It's high profile. She's now representing Boston PD, even though she worked at Canton PD. Boston Police Department is not as big as New York. Is it unusual for a rookie police officer to meet with the PC in a high profile case? Has this happened before? Maybe. I don't know. But maybe the PC, and again, I'm just, playing devil's advocate here. Maybe the PC said, yeah, tell the truth no matter what. This is what she testified to, right? We will back you up. And maybe that's what's giving her the confidence to be so combative and snarky with Jackson, because she knows she's got the backing of the PD. So if she's being truthful, right? We don't know, right? So,
We don't
and
know.
and then she says that this is her whole livelihood, and we know that you cannot test a lie, right? If you lie in court, you're going to get terminated. You're going to get fired. So, is she being truthful? She recanted her previous testimony. Was
Well,
it
that's
a
all up for
false memory?
debate.
It's so interesting. It's a lot for the jury to digest, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because remember, it doesn't matter what you think or what I think or what
Yep.
everybody on YouTube thinks. It's
Yep.
gonna be what the jury think. That's what you should be focused on. You know, the issue that it comes down to is that if the jury thinks one thing, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, like did Jackson come off as a bully? Did
He's
she come
expected to.
off as combative? We all have our opinions. Like I said in the last pod, we have the ability to talk to each other and rehash everything, and the jury does too. But it's going to be interesting.
Well, here's the issue for Officer Dever, right? So she recants her testimony, so that creates a problem with the feds. People are questioning her veracity on the stand, which is a problem for her job personally. She probably has a problem with the jury, but that's really not any of her concern at this point. But she's still going to have a problem with the cops. She's implicated in her original statement an ATF agent and a police chief in the Sally Port. Maybe not so much implicated them there, but laid it out there and saying they were there for a wildly long time. Didn't say
Yeah.
she saw them do anything terrible. She didn't say she saw them break the taillight. She didn't say
Yeah.
any of that, but she puts them there at the scene. Now,
Yeah.
other cops are going to be thinking, why did you even, what? And now you're recanting it, right? So this is a huge problem for her career in that respect.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess they, the feds interviewed everybody in that station house, right?
Yes.
Everybody.
It's just not her. Yeah.
Just not her, everybody. And she made her statement and they recorded it. Jackson got a hold of it. So now he presented it. So for Jackson, I think it's a win because, right, you're creating doubt, right? You're creating doubt in
That's all he has to do.
in the juror's
Yeah.
mind.
And that's the thing. I put a poll in there. It says, in your opinion, it's in the chat, folks. In your opinion, did Officer Dever's testimony help the defense? That's really what we're trying to discuss here. Does it help the defense? Some people will say yes. Some people say no. That's fine. I just want to. We're trying to get a thing here because Mike and I don't have all the answers, but we're looking at this, kind of scratching our heads and saying there are a lot of unusual things that have happened with this officer's testimony in a short period of time. I can tell you, Mike, I didn't like her style in the in the box. I didn't like it. I thought she was combative. I thought she was snobbish at certain points. I mean, even if you look at the picture that we paused it on, she's got this frown on her face. And we've been told in training, right, Mike, as don't do these things. I know she's young and I know she doesn't have a lot of time and experience. That's fine.
Yeah.
But this is where your training is supposed to kick in.
Yeah. And again, she's a young police officer, right? She's probably about the same age as my youngest daughter. So jurors will probably look at her that way too, right? They're going to look at her like, if that was my kid, or, how would she testify, under such a high profile case. So, I don't know, maybe because I'm a dad, I figure I understand that she's a little, she says she's not nervous, but I bet you she's super nervous and she seemed very stressed, right? Because
Anytime I
if
testified,
you
I was
say the wrong
nervous.
thing or you lie, like they're, Jackson saying, that you could lose your job. So is it a stressful situation for her? I understand. It was riveting. I love the back and forth between the two of them. It's just going to have to be decided by the jury if who's in the right, who's in the wrong, who's the bully, who's not. And then she kept just saying that you're trying to put words in my mouth. I thought she did pretty good. She stuck to her guns. I mean, that's just my opinion.
That's fine.
It's not going to be a popular opinion, but a lot of people.
We're not here to win
say,
friends.
Mike, are you nuts?
We're not here to win friends. We're just here to discuss this and tell us what you think.
I'm just giving
everybody,
my opinion, folks.
Yeah, everybody has to be able to share an opinion. I mean, what happened to debate? What happened to disagreement? Right? I mean, you're supposed to be able to do all these things. Does it change anything? No. It's like I always refer to the same thing, that the sheepdog and and Wile E. Coyote fighting and killing each other all day, and then, all right, Bob, check out and go home. I mean, that's really what it's supposed to be about. But people are just, sometimes you just they close themselves off and they will not, hear anything else or deal with anything, right? So sometimes I wonder exactly whatever happens to the art of debating.
Well, they were debating in trial yesterday, and it was definitely fun to watch. I watch it several times over and over again, and I make my opinions initially. And I said, okay, yeah, that was a win for Jackson. And then I changed again. I said, okay, that was a win for Devers. It's like, and I'm going back and forth, and again, the jury doesn't have the benefit, right? Do they? They don't get to watch that again and again and again. They might ask what was said, like they might see the transcript, but they don't get to see the video, right? We do. to see the emotion, and I think that comes into play in our decision making too. So
Yeah, well, of course, yeah. And you know what? If we're struggling with all the stuff that happened after the fact, and we have the ability to go back and rewatch this, which they don't, I think members of the jury are doing it. And listen, if you're Jackson, all you need is one juror to be doing this, going back and forth with it,
yeah,
going
yeah.
back and forth. I'm still sticking with my that this does not end well for the prosecution. It's either going hung jury again or not guilty. I'm more leaning towards hung jury than anything else. I just do not think they have proven their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And as a matter
So
of fact,
far, right?
yeah, so far.
So far,
Yeah,
he's
well, it's
got
not over
more
yet.
witnesses.
It's
I
you know,
agree. Right now,
I think they only called like 5 or 6 witnesses the first time around the defense. So I don't think that they're going to be doing a lot more.
yeah, yeah. Some people are even questioning why he even brought this police officer in, right? Because this is supposed to be his witness, and he's battling her on the stage. So, but again, I think he raised doubt, which is what he wants. He's trying to bring this officer in and to have the jury question, what happened to that video, right? Supposedly the video was deleted or something happened, and then this woman is recanting her testimony. So it's definitely creating doubt. So yeah, I think this one was a win for Jackson, but we don't know what the jury's thinking,
No, we don't. And that's what we're just trying to hash this out ourselves because I'm struggling with all the different aspects of this thing too.
But I
Because as
agree
I'm
with you.
watching,
I think it's probably going to be a hung jury right now because they're going to be undecided. I believe the jury's going to be divided like us, right? It's polarizing. The whole country's polarized, right? I was telling you earlier that people that didn't watch the Karen Reed trial before are watching it now. All my friends are into it now because it was on TV and now they're following the trial. So yeah, it's good television for sure, and everybody's invested this time around.
yeah, I mean, it's caught the national attention. I mean, we have the two groups that have been fighting, right? The Free Karen Reed people and the Bury Karen Reed under the prison people, however they call each other. I don't even know what they call each other, but um, you also
I
have
know
to
what
look
they
at the.
call each other, but I can't say because I'm trying to be
No,
good.
don't be saying nothing. But yeah, I mean, even a statement I made on Twitter about it's never worth it or something. Keep your integrity from the police, whatever. It got interpreted 100 different ways. Listen, cops, if you lose your credibility on the stand,
Yeah,
it's devastating.
somebody actually asked if she would be put on the Brady list, and like we said, right, the initial interview with the feds was not under oath. She's under oath now. So I don't think she'd be put in the Brady list. And for the people that don't know what the Brady list is, it's like if you put on that list, you're not allowed to testify anymore in court. All right. And like Joe said, that would be detrimental to your career. If you're a police officer, if you can't testify in court, you can never make an arrest again. You probably can't write a summons again.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're not going to be a police officer again. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
that'd be very damaging if she even gets put on that. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I had mentioned that earlier before. Good luck and if she ever had a case before, the defense is going to be lining up to have those cases reviewed.
True. If they find her not credible in this testimony, yeah, that could open up investigations in the past that she was a part of, 100%. Just
Yeah.
like what's going to happen to Proctor, right? Proctor, oh my God, everyone's lining up to reopen their case. Anything involved with Proctor, lawyers are lining up and drooling. So,
Well, and how about he's got the Anna Walsh case too, which hasn't even done it, and the defense is already playing games with that one.
which is
So
sad.
it's
Which is sad for the victims of those cases that he
and the
was part
families.
of it. Now it's
Yeah.
being challenged.
Yeah, and the families all because of some issues with people that shouldn't have been doing what they're doing, and it's just it's absolutely crazy. But well, let's put it this way: after yesterday's testimony, there's no doubt that the FBI has been involved in this situation. Let's just call it that. Has been involved in the situation that they've been trying to hide. There's no question about that now because she's even mentioned it twice. I believe she mentioned it yesterday.
Now, we talked about this earlier. Could they bring the police commissioner in that talked to Devers?
Wow.
Right? What did you say to her? That'd be
That would
interesting.
be interesting.
Why
Well,
did
I
you,
mean,
Commissioner? Why did you bring Officer Deverson? Is that how many rookie police officers have you interviewed before a trial? That's
ouch. Could you imagine? Well,
yeah.
tonight I'm gonna have tonight this because this was a special episode. We weren't planning on doing this, but tonight at 6 p.m. I have Josh Ritter on, who's Courtroom Confidential, and a couple of these questions I'm going to ask him. I mean, the defense has to be mindful that anybody they bring in, of course, then brings it back into the realm of the prosecutor. So the
Yeah.
reason why the prosecutor also didn't bring in certain people is because then they make them available to the defense. So this
Right.
becomes a chess match, right? So
100%.
you know, if they bring the police commissioner in, I guess the only question that they can ask him is, "What did you say to her?" Right? And what is he going to say at this point? I told her, just tell the truth. That's what he's going to tell her. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think it's going to be fruitful, but I like where you're going with that. I mean, could you imagine that would be like? Phew. I don't think they do it. That's just my personal opinion, but that would be it's pretty interesting.
It will definitely, bring a lot of, confusion and something for the juries to think about. And I'm sure they're thinking about this, just like we all are. They're thinking about it on a smaller, like between the jury population, where it's a larger magnitude with all of us talking about it online, fighting on Twitter, anything you post is being challenged,
Yep.
and we listen, folks, we try to really stay down the middle. Right, we really try. We do, we try to be unbiased about it, and we're very critical if something that a police officer says is wrong or doesn't fit right. Like with this case, I think we covered that pretty good.
Yeah, no, and Simi says Dever opened the doors that weren't supposed to be open. The FBI in the first trial. I agree, Simi. She kicked those doors in like the Kool-Aid man. I guess we're all dating ourselves because there's some generations that don't know who the Kool-Aid man is. But
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, and actually, Simi, well, I got her up here. She wrote a song about true crime. Simi, if you have the link, you should post it in the chat so everyone
Did
can listen
she?
to your song. Yeah, she's a musician. And the song
Get
is actually
out of
pretty.
here!
The song is actually pretty cool.
I want to
I
hear it.
listened to it. Yeah. Well, I'll send it to you if she doesn't do it. But Simi, if you're still in the room, post the link in the chat so that everyone can hear what you wrote.
Can we play it?
Oh no. So the whole thing might blow up if we do. So we're we're gonna wrap it up soon anyway because it's almost 8:40 and everybody's gonna be flying out.
Yeah, that was unexpected. Officer Dever's testimony was unexpected. I tuned into Defense Diaries, not to give your friends a plug, but I tuned into
Yeah,
Defense
no, we
Diaries
give them
just
a
to
plug.
troll them.
I love Bob Motta. No. Look, Mike, I say this all the time. I don't have any competition in this realm. You know why? Because I'm here to have fun. I'm here to talk
Yeah.
about things that I want to talk about. What everybody else is doing, that's great. No, Bob Motta, Defense Diaries. If you
Bob
don't know it, you
and
should go over there and
Allie,
subscribe. Yeah,
they're very
go over there and
supportive of
subscribe.
the channel. They welcome me in the chat. They love it. They had a great guest last night, Dr. Shiloh, who I was like, who is this woman? I said, I love what she's saying. I said I was a big fan of hers. And then I just plugged in to troll the chat, and then this Dever's testimony. I was like, what is this? I have to admit, I'm not as invested, and I watch here and there, unless you tell me something's interesting. And I found this super interesting. That's why I said, man, we gotta do a show about this testimony.
Yeah. Well, when you sent me the link, I knew I was in trouble because you just usually don't send me a link to a video. Yeah.
Nothing.
And I said, I saw the email. I said, this is something. When I
It
clicked
was
it on
good.
watch
It was so good.
It was good. That's why, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Defense Diaries. Everybody should be the Courtroom Confidential. Justice Served. All these people are friends of mine. Go see them. Go listen to their
Gizella.
shows. Yeah, Gizella True Crime has been my biggest supporter. How do you not plug her shows? I mean, she does a fantastic job. Put all of them out there. I mean, Duty Ron, Police Off the Cuff, support them all because we're just trying to do. Everybody should high tide lifts all boats as far as I'm concerned.
You named so many podcasts. I must admit, I don't know all of them.
I've been on almost all of those shows. That's why.
Yeah.
I've been on them. I've never been on Duty Run, but I've been on Police Off the Cuff. I've been on all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, and I was actually, we were introduced to LV cops too, because one of the choices for our, with the Sarge squad and everything else was the ride-alongs, and then people said, well, the ride-alongs was actually been already being used by the LV cops TV thing. So I said, oh, okay, but it didn't win. But there's other
A
shows
ride
out
along.
there.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, the ride-alongs, that was a good one. But I like Sarge squad too. The squad for short.
It's like Mod Squad.
Yeah, mod squad, exactly.
We have our own Mod Squad.
Yes, literally mods. Yes. Actually, I didn't even get a chance to up-to-date Nightbot. He's showing stuff from tonight's show. Nightbot giving out hairstyling tips too.
Did you just presume Nightbot's gender?
I guess so. Don't even go there.
I love
Exclusive.
Nightbot. Hi, Nightbot.
Yeah, Nightbot. Yeah, Mike Glad, LV Cops are cool. Yeah, I caught a little bit of them. It was actually very interesting. I like that show. Like I said, there's so many good shows out there, so everybody's got a chance, and everything's different. Everybody's got a different take on
There
things,
really is.
which is pretty cool.
It truly is such a great true crime community, and I love listening to everyone's perspectives. I love listening to the pro Karen Reed and the anti Karen Reed. I just find it fascinating, and I think that's what makes for a more rounded show if we listen to everybody's opinions and thoughts. So
Yeah. All we ask is that people be open to other people without attacking them. That would be great.
I like the attacks. It's funny. I was trolling. I was trolling Jay's Instagram because people were so against Devers, and all I wrote was, "I liked her," which,
boy.
of course, I'm just being a troll. Sorry, Jay.
Yes. What Jay? Jay's the one that actually got me started on all this stuff too. So can't forget him either. So Mike,
he makes such good tweets too.
yeah, no, he's been on fire. I've been watching those things.
Yeah.
So Mike, we're gonna head on over to watch one of the other shows. I don't know
Yes.
exactly where I'm gonna go, but we'll follow each other. So Kimberly from Ohio, LMAO, Nightbot is a girl. Okay.
Yes. All right.
Nightbot's non-binary. That's all. We'll solve this. We'll solve this problem. Yes, Pokemon Jay boy. Can't forget Jay. I miss him on this thing. He used to do this all the time, and now he's not. But all right, Mike. Thank you for coming on. Everybody, thank the mods. Thanks everybody for listening. Tonight, 6 p.m. Josh Ritter and Courtroom Confidential will be live on the show. We're going to be discussing, of course, this, but we're going to be getting the lawyer aspect of it, the legal implications. We're going to really delve into some of those things. Guys, have a great morning, and hopefully we'll see you tonight at 6 p.m. Mike, you hang out. Everybody else, enjoy the day. Like I said, 6 p.m. tonight, guys. Hope to see you then.